So Dennis kindly introduced us, and we run a business called Maverick Web, and we basically take you from concept to online. He said that we are, well, Centane is our UX UI developer and designer, and that I'm the founder of Maverick Marketing. However, I call Centane the janitor because she cleans up all the messes, and I'm the chief firefighter because I spend most of my time putting out fires. So that's what we do. Please feel free to ask us any questions you have. I know that there's the chats and the Q&A, and we're going to be asking you quite a few polls along the way. And if you can just fill those in. To get started, sorry, because I crashed, I can't see what's going on. To get started, we'd like to start with a poll. If you can just launch that for us in the meantime. This is just to get a sense of where you are in terms of online. Okay, so are you currently online? So do you have a website? Do you have an e-commerce site? Or do you have no online presence at all? Centane, are you sharing your presentation? Because I know that will make this a lot more interesting. I just want to thank my team a lot. Centane is amazing. We'd hoped that Roseanne, our developer, would join us today, but she said she'd rather pull out her toenails than appear live. So unfortunately, she's not with us.
I was to a Zoom call and ended up presenting in front of 100 or so people. So.
Okay, so our results are very interesting. The majority, by a very small margin, are no online presence at all. And a few of you have an e-commerce site, 18%. I don't know, can everyone see this? So basically I have a website, 40%. I have an e-commerce site, 18%. I have no online presence, 42%. So, I must say, first of all, that we're very blessed to be in the e-commerce space. It is something that Centane and I are particularly passionate about, and growth is currently exponential. It is so encouraging, especially in these economic times. And having said that, I'm sure that's why you are all here today. You want to get your businesses online, and that is what we do. We build new businesses in virtual locations.
But with building new businesses in virtual locations, can you expand on that? Because most of our clients are already established businesses.
Okay, so when I say we build new businesses, e-commerce websites are businesses in themselves. They need to function as self-sufficient businesses without their mommy and daddy brick and mortar businesses paying for them. And we'll get to that more in depth later. But what I want to actually emphasize is that your online store needs to be a self-sufficient business that functions in a virtual space. Okay, so let's go on to our next poll question. We want to just get an idea of what the general state of play in the e-commerce industry is in South Africa. So if you can just answer how big you feel e-commerce is in South Africa. What we're asking you here is what percentage of the total retail market e-commerce holds. So if you can just let us know what you think. I'm just fixing my screen. Okay. So, Centane. Okay.
Yes.
You've got you. Okay, so let's have a look at what the results are for that. Okay, so that's very interesting. So the majority of you are right. 4% of the total retail market. It's actually not 4.4%. It should be 1.4%. That's a typo. 1.4% of the total retail market, 10% of the total retail market, 34% of you said that, and 16% of the total retail market. So, Centane, if you want to go to our stats on this, I use those figures, interestingly, because they all are real stats. South Africa's e-commerce industry is comprises 1.4% of the total 1 trillion retail market in South Africa. So it is valued at 14 billion rand. The US e-commerce market is 10% of its total retail market, which is valued at $586 billion US dollars. And 16% is the total size of the e-commerce industry in relation to the total retail market globally. So this just shows you how tiny South Africa is. If you want to get a sense of the size of the total retail market for 2019, it is valued at $4.206 trillion. And that is from a total retail market of $26 trillion. Of that, China represents 54.7% of that market, which is astounding. It is almost twice that of the next 5 countries combined. So China is just insanely huge. We did the statistics, we did the numbers, Centane and I, and they actually made our brain hurt. We figured out that South Africa comprises 0.0000023775556% of the total global e-commerce market. As you can see, how many zeros is that?
Yeah,
so
0%.
So as you can see, we are in our infancy. South Africa is a minute e-commerce country. However, we have been listed as the second fastest growing e-commerce country in the world. And if we are only 1.4% of the total South African retail market at the moment, it has been proposed that we will hit the 2% mark by 2020. Online growth in South Africa has also been predicted to grow by 50% this year. Of the total online users in South Africa, 64% of them are online shoppers, which in my opinion is significant. So we'd like to do our third poll here, just to see how many of our audience are also online in relation to the general public. So do you trust online shopping? If you can let us know. Do you shop online at all the time and from various stores? Or are you skeptical and only shop from the well-known platforms like Takealot and Superbalist, etc.? Or you're not shopping online at all yet, you are wary. And if you can just let us know and see how the South African market compares to our audience, who I believe is going to be quite an educated bunch of online shoppers. So let's see, okay, what our results are. Wow, okay, so that's very interesting. So half, 54% only shop from well-known platforms like Takealot. Very interesting that. But as you can see, if you combine the first two, there are 35% of you who shop from all over the place, which means that this audience is definitely more online than the general population, but there are still a lot of you who aren't shopping online, which is fascinating, especially seeing that you're listening to this talk of ours today. Okay.
So we actually have an interesting question with regard to that poll. Jenny Hewitt says, that is crazy. Do you think South African people are scared of the risk of fraud in this regard?
Okay, so my answer to that is yes, I believe they are scared of fraud, but they shouldn't be. It is a perception rather than a reality. Our systems are in place to prevent this. So this is what we've got to do. We have got to change perceptions. It is not accurate, but it is definitely a perception.
I would agree with that. So the stats that you gave us are actually pretty interesting, but do you believe that they're still accurate considering the COVID-19 pandemic going on? Do you think that the numbers are going to remain the same, or is it going to significantly affect them?
To be perfectly honest, your guess is as good as mine. As I said, we're just janitors and we're not statisticians. However, seriously, I would say it's going to be huge. I would say that lockdown is going to force people to shop online, but it is also going to change, it is also going to cause a massive cultural change. I think e-commerce will become a first thought rather than an afterthought. Where places like Gumtree and OLX are going to suffer, Take-A-Lot and Superbalist are going to explode. And with this comes a space for all the other small e-commerce players to enter. However, to succeed, they have to play by the rules.
That's definitely understandable with regards to OLX and Gumtree, because right now meeting a seller in person after buying something from a marketplace isn't exactly what you want to do. But in terms of the rest of it, what exactly are the rules?
Okay, so there are many rules, and they are all unspoken, and you learn them through the school of hard knocks. So, for example, the golden rule: don't sell crap, or don't provide terrible service, or don't think people are just going to stumble across your site. And then you will be a millionaire, and the list goes on.
Okay, great. So let's move on then to the steps. Where do we start? What are the 6 steps to getting your business online?
Okay, so I'd like to start with our next poll, please. Which is, have you ever been burned with an online purchase? Okay, so first is yes, I have bought complete rubbish and been sorely disappointed. Yes, it was cheap, but I knew I was at risk. And thirdly, no, I am very careful. And of course, this only applies to you if you have been shopping online. Okay.
So let's take a look at the results.
Very interesting. So most of you say you're very careful. Then the rest of you say that a lot of you have been burned. And then some of you say it was cheap, but I knew it was a risk. But I like the fact that most of you say you're very careful, because I think that is a very hard thing to do in South Africa. So we are going to go to our step number 1, which is, where do you start? Okay. So step number 1 is you start with a reason. And your reason is your business. And it always answers a problem. You have to have a reason for why you are launching this business. And more so, why you want to sell a particular product. Your product is the kernel that underlies everything you do. Make sure it is valuable. Make sure that it encompasses the philosophy that drives your business model. Okay, Centane, please give me a product. And I promise I have no idea what she's going to say.
My goodness, I totally wasn't prepared for this. Triple ply toilet paper.
Okay, well then your business hinges on the fact that you believe that no one should go without 3-ply, that your derriere deserves the best, that 3-ply will not only make you more comfortable, it will change the health of your bowel. You need to drink the Kool-Aid. You are the ambassador for the Kool-Aid. Your product is your dream. It is the reason for your business and the solution to your problem and everyone else's. How was that, Centane?
Well, I'll be honest, you made me a little bit uncomfortable when you started talking about bowels. But anyway, moving swiftly along, there's online shops all over the world that sell crap. So clearly this can't be the case.
Okay, sure. But South Africa is different to China. And I think we have all seen that, particularly with our differentiation in terms of market size. We are not there yet. This is not the US. This is not China. This is not the UK. Our market is still so different. We are in our infancy. We have massive trust issues. We do not have the culture yet. We need to be gentle with our online shoppers. Selling crap is not a sustainable business model. People generally do not come back for it. I am firmly of the belief that we must not damage the industry in its infancy. Damage it when it's old and ugly, but let's protect our baby. Okay. So, did we do our poll number 4 yet? Yes. So, Centane, do we have any images of if anyone's ever been burned before?
Yes, let's take a look at what happens to those who buy crap.
There we go.
There
That's my favorite. So we definitely need to be careful. And this brings me to the fact that I do believe exponential growth is coming to South Africa. And I've been in the industry for 9 years and I've been saying it over and over. And I've just watched us grow and grow and grow. And now I believe we're going to grow even further, especially with what's going on now. In the last 2 weeks, the growth that we have seen in terms of people looking for builds is astounding. But we have to be careful that we don't do more detriment to the industry. And for example, drop shipping. And these pictures that you're seeing here, these are examples of
into drop. We all know how you feel about drop shipping. So let's recap. Number 1, your product is the kernel of your business. Know it, love it, live it. And with that, let's go on to a question for everybody. Name a large online player in South Africa that comes to mind first. If you can give us your answers in the chat box, that would be great. Let me just say that one more time. Name a large online player in South Africa that comes to mind first. Let's see here. We've got Yuppie Chef, Take a Lot, Superbalist, Kiss, Blush and Tell, Take a Lot, Take a Lot, Take a Lot, Take a Lot, Take a Lot. Oh, here's a new one. Take a Lot.
Okay, so as they all come in, Centane's going to read those. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you some very interesting information. Take a Lot has been around for 10 years, and she hopes to become profitable in 2 years' time. Okay, so this leads me onto step number 2. How do you get moving? And this is called building your business model. And this you do around your product. But basically you figure out how many widgets you need to sell, for how much to cover your costs, for how long until you can start making some money. So look at Take a Lot. They're saying 12 years. And I'm not saying that is everybody, okay? But what I am saying is your business model is imperative. Work out your costs, work out your priorities. Know that e-commerce is not cheap and that you need to invest in it. If you want to be a net florist or a Take a Lot or a Superbalist, I don't even know what the other comments are because I can't read them. That is what you have to do. You have to invest in it. Okay, Centane, can we do our next poll?
Let's do the next poll, which is, would you rather live in a one-room farm on a massive estate or in a sparkling palace in a slum? And while those results come in, I have a question for you, Melissa.
Yes.
What are the costs? How come Take a Lot isn't profitable? What do people have to cater for?
Sure. Well, in broad strokes, let's talk web maintenance. And that is the most crucial in my opinion, and of course, because I'm a bit biased, but this is data analysis. This is UX, UI improvements. This is maintenance. This is graphic design. This is constantly keeping your website fresh and changing and up to date and following the user journey and changing it and making it current. The second thing you've got to keep up, you've got to factor in is logistics, warehouses, couriers, packaging, boxes, etc. The third thing is marketing, and your your marketing is probably going to be the biggest part of your budget, believe it or not. And then, of course, staff. And the poll is in, and the answer is a one-room farm with 90%. And I love that, because that's how we build, of course.
So let's expand upon that exactly. Explain the analogy.
Okay. So first of all, this moves us into step 3, and that is how to build a business that works. Okay. And I believe that we build to grow with scalable milestones. You would rather live on a farm with the opportunity to scale than to live in a slum. And of course, there was a bit of a tongue in cheek, but the analogy was to describe what we see every single day. We see palaces built on shaky foundations in slums with short lifespans and major issues. And we literally see this every day. And when I put it to you as a building, you guys can see it straight away. But when I tell you this as a website, you all buy cheap, all of you. And I don't like to build like that. I would rather build you a solid one-room farmhouse this year, which you can sell 10 cows, and then afford to build a room next year and sell even more cows, while your neighbor has no cows to sell to fix his fallen down palace.
That's true. And this way the business pays for itself. As you said earlier, you're building a new business in a virtual location.
Okay, yes.
Let's go on to another question. So if you can place your answers in the chat. Please name a platform that you can build an e-commerce site on. Please name a platform that you can build an e-commerce site on.
And while you're doing this, I'm going to tell you a little story. A long time ago, while looking at my mother-in-law's broken down, brand new bargain stove, my husband whispered to me, "When you buy cheap, you buy twice." It was something that I stored away, and I remember it every time I buy large appliances and build websites. Invest what you can, but do it wisely. It is better to build slower and stronger than cheap and fast if you are going to do this for the long run. Which brings us to step number 4.
Melissa, this is my favorite topic. Melissa, tell us, Shopify expert, what is the best platform to use? Let's go through them.
Okay, well, what were the answers in the chat, Sentane?
We've got Shopify, Magento, Wix, no idea. Shopify, WordPress, WooCommerce, ShopStar. Let's see. My grandmother said I'm too poor to buy cheap goods. That is one of the comments, just so you know.
Good to hear.
Yeah, so basically everyone's saying Shopify, WooCommerce, same. Wix as well. So let's start with Wix.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to put my cards on the table. We are Shopify experts, and I have taken years to become a Shopify expert, and it's been a well-considered process, and I have used all the other platforms, and now I don't deviate. If it's e-commerce, it's Shopify. So just know that I am totally biased. But of course, you want to know what other platforms out there and why I only use Shopify, and here they are. Okay, so the first is Wix. And Squarespace, and I think someone said, what was the other one? ShopStar, etc. So these are builders. They're web builders, and they, anyone can do them. I think like Standard 9, they do them in your courses. They are very elementary. So they're for beginners, and they cannot handle scalability, and no big stores will build on them. So they are your example of buy cheap, buy twice. Don't do it. Then, of course, there's WooCommerce, and WooCommerce is the bane of my life. And you will get every single person, and Centane will want me to say, Melissa, be kind about WooCommerce, but I won't be, because it is the most frequent rebuild that we do is a WooCommerce website. And it is because Everyone and their dog will tell you WooCommerce is the best in the whole world and we can do it. But that is because they have experience in WordPress. But WooCommerce is not a platform for e-commerce. WooCommerce is a plugin for WordPress. Woo is beautiful. You will build the most beautiful WordPress site because that is what WordPress is for. It is for building beautiful sites. And then you'll take a cardboard box, which is WooCommerce, and you will plug it onto the side of WooCommerce. And then it will fall off when you get traffic and when you get orders, and it is not an e-commerce platform. And was that too hectic, Santane?
I think you were very diplomatic about it.
Thank you. It's not my favorite, and we do a lot of rebuilds for WooCommerce. Okay. The next is Magento, and I personally love Magento. I think it is brilliant. It is highly flexible, robust. However, I cannot in all conscience put a new build onto Magento with a price tag of $2,000 per month in fees. What is that at the moment? I want to say 30,000 Rand a month at the current exchange rate. It's just not sustainable. Then again, we go to, like that, ain't nobody got money for that. Then we go to BigCommerce, which is also world class. But again, it is expensive and a bit clunky. So I don't go there. And then finally, not finally, but then there's custom. And a custom build, and please don't let my developer hear me saying this, but a custom will either crash and burn, or it will have the most basic back end, or it will cost you millions of rands, and I'm not exaggerating when I say millions, to get you the same semblance of a back end that a platform can give you in terms of structure. And that is because these platforms have been built. Millions and billions of dollars have gone into building these structures. So why would we reinvent the wheel? Which brings me to Shopify, which is my baby. Shopify is highly robust. It is customizable if you know what you are doing. And you can be a novice or an expert to use it.
It is worth noting here that Shopify is also a platform that allows anyone, regardless of their design skills, to create a technically functional store. So what that means is that people will be able to check out of your store on Shopify regardless of what it looks like. Having said that, let's all agree that beautiful and functional websites are obviously the best.
And I'm going to re-emphasize here that Shopify is highly sophisticated and customizable in its development as well, if you know what you're doing. And then if you don't know what you're doing, you're still going to build a beautiful store. The other reason I love Shopify is because it tiers in terms of its payment plan. So it's not like Magento. Magento rivals Shopify Plus in terms of its fees and functionalities, but then you start on Shopify basic plan, which is cheap. So it scales with your business. Again, the farm analogy. You can be a
question here.
Yes.
So Anthony Anley says, I don't want to sound negative, but it sounds to me like a lot of opposition battering.
I'm sorry. He's completely right. And it's just my experience. But I'm not, I have no investment in Shopify for any reason. You know, they don't give me a kickback for building with them. I could very well be building on Woo. I could say I'm a WooCommerce specialist. I'm not going to lie, we build WordPress websites as well. And sometimes someone will say, can you put in a WooCommerce plugin? And I go, yes, pay us. But I don't believe in it. So it is not opposition. It is just what I believe in. They're not my opposition because I have no vested or invested belief or relationship with them.
Yeah, and that's not to say that we don't take on WordPress sites, because if it is warranted, we'll certainly do it. We won't push for Shopify if it's not needed. So I think that's also worth noting. But having said that, we are Shopify experts for a reason, of course. So let's take a look at what has this got to do with building cheap and building twice?
The platform.
Yes.
So building cheap and building twice. If you're going to build on Woo, you're going to build twice. Sometimes you'll build twice on Woo, and then you'll come across to another platform that suits you. If you're going to build on Wix, you are going to build multiple times, because Wix, as soon as you get to a sustainable level in terms of traffic or orders, you're going to have to build again. It's your palace. Woo is beautiful. It's beautiful. Anyone can make a beautiful website in Woo. It's going to be beautiful, but then you are going to rebuild it if you get the traffic. There is no doubt in my mind. I mean, Kylie Jenner's, what's her store called? Kylie Cosmetics is built on Shopify. It handles traffic like you cannot believe. Like, it is insane, and because it is hosted on Shopify, you don't have a problem. WooCommerce, you're dead in the water. Magento even. That's where we are. Have I broken up, Sante?
No, you're fine. So let's go to then step number 4. How do you design your website to get selling?
Okay. First of all, you listen to your customer. We all think we know our customers, but very seldom do we actually listen to them. Listen, and they will tell you what they want. And this is the user journey. This is actually Santane's job and her love. Listen to them means watching how they behave on your website and listening and changing the site accordingly. If they are not buying and you believe in your product, then you are not listening to them. Okay, so I'm just looking at some of the answers there.
Okay, so then let's move along, because we're coming up to the end where we need to get some questions answered. How do you ensure that people actually get to the websites?
Okay, so you market. You market, you market, you market. You can build the most beautiful website in the world, but if you do not market, you are dead in the water. Without marketing and advertising, you are like a grain of sand in the ocean that is the World Wide Web. No one will find you. Find a good digital agency or dedicated team to it, but don't think it works like foot traffic. Build it, work on it, invest in it. If you don't have an audience, you can't listen to them. If you don't have an audience, you don't have a customer.
That's true. So then you said there were 6 steps. Let's take a look at what is the 6th step.
Okay, so the 6th step is utilize the systems and the strategic partners available to you. And this is basically building an online store that is completely automated. And this is the beauty of technology. Make sure that everything is simple and done for you. So make sure that you use a good platform, and then you choose your partners carefully. You choose your payment gateway that integrates without you having to do anything. You set up your Google Analytics. You choose a courier that can be seamlessly integrated into your backend so that you don't have to manage it manually. You should never have to pick up a phone to notify customers. It should be a process that is totally seamlessly integrated through a technological back end. You should integrate your ERP and your accounting system. And you should do this all from the start. And I just believe that you have to remember to simplify and automate from the get-go.
Seamless. Did I break up?
Yes, sorry.
We've got a question about the integration of a CRM system. Would you say that is a seamless process?
Well, Centane, you are the person who normally does our CRM integration, so I should probably ask you if it's a seamless integration.
Does depend on the CRM, but typically we don't have a problem with that. So just to answer that very briefly, but it is done on a case-by-case basis. So then what's next?
Okay, well, those are 6 steps, basically. This is not really everything, but I think it's a good place to start. Now you really have the basics for building an online e-commerce store, which is a virtual business for you to love and nourish and get online. So if you're considering getting in online and into e-commerce, the time is now. We're not going back. It's like going back to 1994 and saying, no, I don't want a cell phone. The time for e-commerce is now, and South Africa is ready. And that's basically what I have to say in terms of the 6 steps to getting online. And now I suppose we can answer some questions.
Okay, so let's take a look at some of the questions that are coming in. What is the #1 best payment gateway in your professional opinion?
Okay, so I suppose there are 3 that we use. Are there 3? There's PayFast, there's PayGate, there's Peach Payments. Have I forgotten any there?
No, those are the 3 we kind of go for because they're the most stable.
Okay, so those are our 3 basic ones. They have very similar fees, and that's really what we go for, is we make sure that they are very well known in the market. So these are the easiest integrations that we use, and of course similar fees, especially for startups. Those are our most important criteria. Easy, trustworthy, and best rates.
We've got a question from Helen Talbo. What is the best way to market your e-commerce site?
Okay, the best way? Wow, there's so many ways. So you've got to do, where do I start? You've got to do social, you've got to do newsletters, you've got to do advertising, you've got to do Google, you've got to do shopping, Facebook shopping, Google shopping, newsletters, databases, PR. That in itself is an hour chat. I don't really know how to answer that succinctly.
We've got a couple asking us to repeat some of the answers. This is recorded and the recordings will be available, so you don't need to stress about writing everything down.
Melissa, can I jump in here? There's a great question from Tracy J. She runs a retail furniture store in Pretoria. And the question is, would people buy high-priced items such as a leather lounge suite or dining room suite for 50 to 60,000 Rand online? Or even a base and mattress set for 10 to 20?
Okay, so our issue here often comes with, it's twofold: courier delivery, so delivery around the whole of South Africa, returns, thinking about returns, and also so courier, returns, and refunds. So if you can work those into your terms and conditions, sometimes they will. You really need to be an established brand. You need to think trust all the way here. If you can, if let's say you are a Choreographed or a big brand, of course they're going to buy that from you. They're going to have no problem buying it as long as you've got a good returns policy. But it is all about trust. People are going to buy office chairs from you. I mean, we have an office chair client a while back, and people bought office chairs like in the thousands. It wasn't an issue. So it's about trust and a returns policy. So yes, they are going to buy those. Do not worry about amounts. People will buy big amounts, but you've just got to put your processes in so that they feel that they can do it. They feel that they're getting it from the correct place, that it's safe, etc. Because what they'll probably do is they'll phone you first.
True enough. So we've got a question here that says, I'm having difficulty in choosing a product. Do you have a process for finding and sourcing products? Now, I know this ties into drop shipping, and I don't really want to throw you down that rabbit hole, but what would your advice be for someone who wants to open an online shop but can't find and source their products? Should they even be starting at this stage?
Okay, and this really does go back to what I truly believe about why you're starting a business. Like, why does anyone start a business? If you don't believe in it, then why are you doing it? You have to be passionate about why you're doing it, and that is the product. So you have to believe that what you are selling is something that you want to sell to people. So if you're going to be a drop shipper and you're like, oh, I want to make some money on the side, and I'm going to go and I'm going to choose some big, like some rubbish Chinese tack, and I'm going to choose it off a catalog and I'm going to put it onto my website. You are a middleman for some dude in China, and you're getting a tiny percentage, and they just want you to sell quantity, and it's not about quality. And we do not have that market in South Africa. No one wants to buy tons of rubbish. So no, it's not going to work. We just are not there yet. We are 100% not there yet. So you've got to love your product. You've got to think, okay, I believe in this product, and I would want my mom to have it, and I want it to work. So think about the philosophy of why you are selling it. Okay, I believe, and this is my business, I believe people need to get online. I totally believe. I never go to the shops. Ask Centane. I don't think she's ever seen me go to the shops. I only shop online. This is what I believe in. Make your product your core. Then you'll have something to believe in, and that's what a business grows from.
So that's very true. I mean, I agree with that. Specific to South Africa, of course, with regards to drop shipping. In other countries, the story is entirely different. But we've got a question: how many people shop online in South Africa, and who are they realistically? Which again comes back to our percentages of population versus web user versus online web user in terms of buying online. So I'm just going to quickly go back there so that you can just explain it one more time.
Don't you want to answer that, Centane? Well, I'm just quickly looking through the questions as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in terms of online shoppers, of our entire total population of 57.7 million in South Africa, 28.6 million of them are online users. Of that 28.6 million, 18.3 million are recorded as online shoppers. Realistically looking at it, your demographics for the web users at 28.6 is very spread out from your various LSMs. Your online shoppers from that point would then be people who actually trust buying online, which is currently the biggest problem in South Africa, so to speak, in the e-commerce field. And it is slowly getting challenged by the lockdown, by the changing times. So I'm hoping that answers that question.
So Centane, I see someone, okay, first of all, I've got the question here. Is it possible to sell a service such as recruitment online? Services are notoriously hard to sell online, but of course they can be, So I personally, I'm trying to think, have we ever sold, I'm trying to think how you would sell service. We sell services in terms of booking spaces, or you've got to translate whatever it is into a product. So you can sell an online course as you translating something that is service related or conceptual into a product. But it has to be something that you can actually like somehow metaphorically change into a product.
Mm.
I don't know how you would sell recruitment as a product because it's not an immediate purchase.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think so many of our websites are custom, which ties into another question, which is, if Shopify is so easy to set up, why are companies like yours so successful? Shouldn't people be building their own sites? And I think this ties in again to how every site of ours and every customer has different requirements. It's not all copy paste.
Yeah, totally. So first of all, I can do basic arithmetic, but I hire an accountant. I believe that people should do what they are experts in, really. I have people who can set up their own store. I also know that where it will take someone a month to do what I can do in a day. And that is no exaggeration. What we have learnt, we do fast and we know the systems. We really do. So that's first point. What we can do in terms of a basic site, we can set you up on an e-commerce site within a week, in 5 days. I mean, we could probably do it shorter if we didn't have other builds going on, but we're fast. That is a basic build. And I spoke to this earlier. I said, Shopify is so easy in terms of it is basic or it is complex. And then that brings me to the other reason why we have jobs. We have jobs because it is so highly customizable. Some of the jobs that we have done in terms of how we can customize a build to do anything you want. So although it might be using the platform of Shopify, we have customized these sites beyond what you can imagine. And I mean, I'm so proud of some of the work that my developers in Centane and myself have done, because they are so highly sophisticated. So that's why we have jobs, because we work fast and we know liquid like you cannot imagine. We can create really specialized, sophisticated masterpieces. So,
and just on that as well, Liquid is a coding language, just so for anyone who doesn't know that. And the other thing is that we work fast, but also we do custom, in the sense that a lot of our clients are also wholesalers, and we know how to work Shopify to make wholesale really work. Melissa is the wholesale queen. So for anybody who has that aspect of them, we know how to make the platform work so that you have a B2C side and a B2B side that interchange with each other.
Yeah, look, I love the fact that that anything can be done online, and we are poised for massive growth. We really are. I never plan to leave my house again.
The hermit mentality is getting a lot stronger in lockdown.
Totally. Centane, you see some other questions? I'm very
Melissa,
bad
there's a question here about what about virtual assistants? I assume the question is, how effective is that?
I'm not. I
The service of virtual assistant.
I assume that's about chatbots and things like that.
Is that what you mean? It's from Helen Rowe. So I wasn't sure. Helen, do you mean virtual assistants as in someone helping you with your site, helping you once it's set up? Can you clarify that? And then maybe we can get to that. Then I see there's...
we have a question. We have a question here as while we wait for Helen to maybe get back to us as to what she means. It says, I have a business idea, but do not know if it will be possible to bring to life. How can I contact you? Let's use this moment to plug our contact details.
So you can go to our website, which is www.maverickweb.co.za, and all our details are on that. Our team is on it. You can get an idea. You can email us at melissa@maverickmarketing or melissa@maverikweb.co.za, or Centane at Maverick Marketing or Maverick Web, the same thing, .co.za. Or give us a call. Our numbers are on our website, and we can chat through whatever you would like to discuss.
Another question is, can you provide a high-level view of the costs of setting up? Which I think it's much better to actually go take a look at our website, because we give a breakdown of the packages according to what you would need. But would you like to give an idea on that, Melissa?
Okay, so basically we'll do a web build. So that will be our costs. And, we will do anything from a 20,000 Rand build to 150, 200,000 Rand build. It really does depend on what you want. Some builds take us a week. Some builds have taken us a year, unfortunately, that's the case. And then you have to factor in your other costs. And when we talk about costs here, I talk about Shopify charges you a fee, $29 a month, and then you have credit card fees, and then you have logistics fees, etc. And I teach you when we set up your store, and I'm going to do a course, like a little training session after this, how we calculate all your fees in and how you should actually set up your model so that you're calculating all of that into your product, if that helps. And that's how you build your high end. That's how you like factor in what you're going to pay. But also remember, it's a process all the time. I mean, look at something like Take A Lot, still not having made a profit, because they're constantly reinvesting everything all the time. Put money in, put money in. I mean, we had a client who they constantly doing UI UX. They didn't have free shipping on, and they had this bounce rate all the time at checkout. They took off that impediment of shipping cost, and they increased. I think they were making 650,000 Rand per month in sales, and they increased it to R1 million per month in sales just from taking off shipping costs, in a month. So, you're constantly evolving, but you have to do your A/B testing, and you have to be on it all the time.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good point, is because there's nothing worse, and for me in particular, and I'm obviously an avid online shopper, than getting to checkout and realizing that you're not going to get free shipping, or you have to add another 200 Rand to your cart. It's a big stopper for most of us. So yeah, another question. Oh, we've got Helen who's come back to us. She is a virtual assistant and would like to sell her services. Does that again tie into selling services and turning it into a product?
Okay, so Helen, then you've got to really think, then you've got to sell a product. So I am selling, I don't know, blocks of time, or I am selling, I can sort your whatevers. You have got to sell a product. You have got to sell a whatever. So as long as you're selling your services converted into a product. Hi, I can, for example, manage your diary for 8 hours a week. Buy your time up front. You can sell that online. That's not a problem. But it doesn't, in my opinion, that's more of a human interaction than an online service. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
Can I answer this question, because I love it? It's so interesting. I've lost it. Here we go. Does Take A Lot use a custom-built platform? Sorry, I'm saying hello to my son. And the answer to that is yes. They use custom, and they are in the process of rebuilding, from what I can hear, because they are struggling. They are really struggling with the legacy website. So
it crashes every Black Friday like clockwork.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting case study, Take A Lot, because yes, it's custom and it's a mess. I don't know if anyone's ever tried to list their products on Take A Lot. I mean, you have to do it manually. It's archaic.
And
I love Take A Lot.
We need to take the last question now, so that we can wrap up. Can you convert a WooCommerce to Shopify?
We do it daily. Centena's got like 3 on the go at the moment. So yes, that is.
Yeah.
Okay. So
What's the nightmare? Please tell them out.
Okay. I am going to be helping someone now. They won a consultation in a competition. If you want to stay and listen to that, I think we've got like 5 minutes. Everyone can go and get some tea or whatever, and then if you want to stay and listen to that. And I really appreciate you all listening to us. And Centane, you are the bomb. Thank you.
Melissa and Centane, thank you so much. That was fantastic, a very valuable session. Please, everyone, stay online. As in the next few minutes, we're going to be starting with part 2 of today's webinar. It's a very practical session for all businesses. It's been designed to provide a live, living case study on how Melissa takes a company through the journey of getting online. So what we've seen up until now are really the big headings. This is going to be about really, from zero to start a business and take it online. We're sure that you'll get real practical and actionable ideas to help you get online. And it will start in a few minutes, so don't go away unless you're going to grab a cup of tea. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Let's get going with part 2 of today's session. I'd like to welcome back Melissa, and joining her is our competition winner, who is Chanel Pfeiffer from EcoMama. Chanel is on the way, and she's in the process of taking a business online, and this live workshop will hopefully set her on her way. The team at OnlineX would like to take this opportunity to thank all those people who entered the competition, of which there are many suitable candidates. We could only choose one business, but we're sure that all those that applied will get tremendous benefit from this workshop anyway. So thank you so much. Right, so over to our participants led by Melissa for the next session.
I'm on.
Okay, Melissa, you're live.
Sorry about that. Yes.
Great.
Hi, Chanel.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Okay. So I suppose we can get started. Oh, that was exhausting. Let's, I'm just going to get a pen and paper. So basically, I thought we would just start by getting to know your business a bit.
Okay.
Okay. So do you want to tell me what your plan is, where you are, get an idea?
Okay, so I haven't registered a business or anything as that yet. I still need to do that. But basically, the idea for my product or the website or the whatever you want to call it, the reason for the e-commerce site would be that I was really confronted with the amount of pollution that we face in South Africa, and that we've got so much single-use plastics being used in various aspects of our lives, whether it's from household to kitchen to babies or whatever the case might be. There's a lot of single-use plastics that actually have products available to replace them. And I've been doing a lot of research. I haven't picked the actual products as yet. I've actually ordered a few online to see the quality and that type of thing. But yeah, so my focus has mainly been around silicone products that are available to replace single-use plastics in various different products.
Okay. So I think what's most crucial to say to start with is, of course, I think that a lot of people listening, and yourself included, and a lot of people that I've been talking to recently have this time in lockdown where they have a lot of time on their hands, and they're also feeling the pinch, and they realize that e-commerce is booming, and it is a time where they can spend, a concerted amount of time doing a lot of research and thinking how they can get online and what would be the best way to do it. And so I get a lot of people contacting me and saying, okay, I want to start an e-commerce store, let's do this. And I'll say to them, okay, what's your product? And just like you, they'll say, well, I've got this idea and this is it, but I don't have the product in yet and I don't have the price point, etc. And I think that this is a fundamental problem, because you do actually need to have your product, because it is the heart of your business. It really is. I mean, if we're going to, you can have the greatest idea in the world, but it's not going to work until you have like some real something behind it. So I think that's your first step, is you really have to go and you have to find your most beautiful product. We have a client who sells that, what's it called? It's that beeswax wrap.
Yes.
Which is fantastic, and it's the same premise as yours. They basically don't want to do single usage plastic, and so they sell this wrap, and that's the philosophy behind their business. And of course, they built their business around this. But what is so difficult for them as a company is they've got one single product, and you can't really build a business on one product. Let's be honest. And there are multiple reasons why you can't build a business on one product. But the biggest reason, and when I speak, and I need to tell the audience this as well, when I speak, I'm speaking with a very particular slant to the South African market. If you were coming on here and you were saying, oh, I want to sell to the US market, it's a totally different way to sell, and it's a totally different audience. But for the South African market, we are small. We have trust issues. We don't want to buy something for 100 Rand online and then have to pay 100 Rand shipping on top of it. We will not do it. We won't. So we pad our carts. You'll go to Take-A-Lot. Trust me, you will spend that extra 100 Rand to get free shipping. If that shipping was 65 Rand, you will do it. We have this mentality. So basically, if you've got a single product, you really need to think this through better. I'm trying to think of any of my shops that have single products. I mean, I'm launching one at the moment. They've got a single product. I wonder if they're listening. But I worry for them. I really do worry about them, because it is a very problematic business model, unless it is a high ticket item. Okay, so you've got to go and you have really got to brainstorm this product of yours. And then when you get that product, you have to make sure that this product is something that you are so proud of. This product is something that you want everyone to have. It's like, I am very proud of the business I'm in. I'm not selling, I don't know, whatever. I'm selling what I believe in. I believe in e-commerce. You have got to believe in these silicone bags. I know the silicone bags. I've actually bought them from China. I hate them because I bought the crap ones. I did. I bought some from Woolies.
That's why I've ordered some sampling to see what it's like before you actually go and buy bulk stuff. For me, it's looking into products in various not industries or various uses, not just your household plastic, but if you had to have something in your baby industry where you have like moms who breastfeed who need something to freeze the milk in and that type of thing. So I think the basis of it would be focusing on silicone type products, but for multiple uses and multiple sizes and that type of thing. So definitely not just one product.
And there you also need to think very much about getting your approvals, making sure that, especially with breast milk, etc. You've got all your FDA approvals, etc. So
Yeah.
start with your product. Once you have your product and it's legwork, then you've got a business to grow on. And then once I say, so you're in a great position because you haven't got your product yet. You haven't got a product from someone that you're reselling, because they're two different types of businesses. So there's a marketplace business, which is something like Yappy Chef. Now, I love Yappy Chef, but what they do so well is they take, things from like multiple different drop shippers. They take them from South African local, but they cultivate and curate a very good set of, products. And that's the marketplace where you're using other people's products. But what you're doing is you're actually going to create your own. So go in, find your ultimate product, your best product, and then, brand it yourself. Make sure. So actually, if you're going to go and get a Chinese product or get it made somewhere, find the right product. Get it made, get it branded yourself, etc. So find your products like that. If you are going to source them outside, outside. And then what you do is you've got to build your pricing model. So a lot of the time when you get products from other companies, they will set a pricing point for you. This is a very complex thing, because a pricing point, in my opinion, for online needs to be between 40 and 50%. And sometimes that is not what people want to do. So if you're buying it for 50 Rand, you have to sell it for 100 Rand, because there are so many overheads. And everyone will say, no, there are no overheads in e-commerce. Tell that to Take a Lot. It's not true. So you really do need to go and do your pricing correctly. So how I tell you to do your pricing is, first of all, go find your product, find the cost price of it, get all your shipping, all of that stuff. So what your landed price is, then your branding, etc. Do your pricing. And once you have that price, then you need to go and you need to add on all your e-commerce pricing on top of it. So often I'll get someone come in, you've got a much more complex start to it, to where I normally come in. I normally come in with a branded product. And I'll tell that person at that point of that branded product, I want 40% from you guys to keep, or hopefully 50%. That's my ideal. And from that, you've got to think between 10 and 12% of that is going to go to your e-commerce fees as a bare minimum. So if you're selling a 100 Rand item, so already 50 plus 12 is gone, bare minimum. And that doesn't even take into consideration any of your marketing. And I would say you've got to think about sometimes 50% of your profit goes into marketing. That is a hard pill for many people to swallow, but it is true. So, okay, so that's the next thing. So you've got to work out your product pricing. I'm going to give you just quick broad strokes of what you're going to work out in terms of your product pricing. So your product, then you're going to work out so if you were building with me, I would put you onto Shopify, which is my platform, and you'd have $29 for your Shopify fee per month. So about 560 Rand. You have a 2% transaction fee on top of that for any credit card transactions, plus a 3.5% South African payment gateway fee, plus you've got to put a courier on. So to do that, we do an integration with something called Africa. They're amazing, fantastic. I don't know.
But you're quite limited with the amount of couriers that you can integrate with them.
With Africa?
Yes, the reason I say that is because I actually work for Aramex. So I've got quite a bit of experience with that. So we tend to work with Shopify and your most loved WooCommerce because the plugins are so easy.
I know. You see, so I have done Aramex integrations, but I have problems with them. I've had lots of problems with Aramex. So it isn't one I recommend, unfortunately.
Yeah, we've
So-
kind of figured it out with the developers at some point because of the integration to Shopify. Sorry, I thought I'd just pop in there real quick.
Thanks, Centane. Yeah, she knows. I fight with Aramex a lot because, you know, so Aramex's prices are good, and I like the fact that you can negotiate with them, but the platform's not, it's not sophisticated enough. It doesn't integrate seamlessly enough yet, and that bothers me. And I'm all about automation. It's my key. So why I don't, so I will do an Aramex integration for some of my clients when they have large, very large size products. But otherwise I go courier, it's Dawnwing, the courier guy. Those are my 3 standards. And then for international, I go DHL. And DHL has a lovely integration. They've got a really good integration. And those are my reasons behind going for them. And someone said to me earlier on the chat, they said, why are you, it sounds like you're bashing the competition. And I'm not bashing the competition. I have no investment in them. Yeah. I just have experience. So that's where I come from. So, and I understand. And I know some of the bigger guys use Aramex, but they don't have the integration issues that we do.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is where I would go. So you have to factor in, so Aramex, you don't have a fee to integrate, but you don't have an integration. So you always have to phone them then. So if you want to pick up an order or something, whereas I don't want you to ever have to phone them. With Shopify in New Africa, you get an order in, you press a button, the courier comes to your door, and all your paperwork has gone out to Shopify. So that works for me because I'm into automation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then after that, after your courier, Centane, what am I forgetting? So now I've lost my track of thought.
Have we gone through the actual styling yet?
Oh, no. Okay. Then you've also got to take into consideration boxing, that kind of logistics, warehousing, where you're going to warehouse. You know, you can do integrations for warehousing. So, for example, there are companies like Parcel Ninja. Don't recommend them when you're getting started because they're expensive. You can do your own warehousing at home initially. That is what I recommend. And then as you scale, you know, then you can find like a logistics house that can do it for you. But so I would say do as much of your own warehousing as you can. Pack and package and send your own with your own courier initially. That's not going to cost you anything. And then, yeah, just think about your running of the business. Yes.
So you were going through the costs and you were talking about $29 per month to Shopify, 2% credit card, 3.5% payment gateway, and then you got to courier, and I think that's where you lost your track.
Okay, so that's courier, which is UAFCO, which is $99, and then the rest are packaging, boxes, etc. for your logistics, warehousing, etc. Those I can't give you percentages for, but you have to calculate those into your fees, is what I'm saying. So use those. And normally what I say is go and figure out what your size box is, how much packaging tape, and then just work it into your costing. And then once you have that, you've got a general idea. Then factor in whatever your profit is, factor in marketing for it. So let's say your profit is 10 Rand on an item. Initially, you're going to spend 5 Rand on your marketing for that item. Hard pill for most people to swallow. It really is. Most people don't even spend a cent initially. And then they're like, why, Melissa? Why am I getting no traffic? Why is my business not working? And I'm like, well, first of all, we need traffic before we can convert it. You know?
Would you say that your biggest cost with the marketing, with your social media, your Instagrams, all of those would basically be your graphic design work if you don't do it yourself? And then obviously if you've got your click-throughs and that you pay to Facebook, depending on the geographics that you set, etc.
So My opinion on it is build a beautiful site. And it is what we believe in, is building a beautiful site. Centane is a brilliant designer. I think she's very talented, and that is one thing that we do believe in. You start off with a very good foundation. So build a beautiful site with good graphics. Then you have websites that change their graphics all the time. So Sportscene is one of my favorite websites, interestingly, a local one. And I go and I look at it often because they have a team of graphic designers who go and constantly update their website. I don't know if it brings in new customers, it brings in new designers and telling you to go and look at it all the time. But then look at Takealot. Takealot doesn't do massively new banners all the time, etc. So graphic design, it depends. What you need to think of instead of graphic design is you need to think of user experience, user journey. So that is where your money should be going. It should be going into your, so do different pages, do different landing pages, do different price points on a product, do different entry points into a product. See if people want this kind of, this product with this add-on versus this product. That is more important.
Is that where Google Analytics comes in?
100%. So Google Analytics will do your A/B testing, etc.
And do you guys do that as well?
So we are a build company. That's where we're trying to move towards, is building. We love building, but we do some marketing. We do have some retainer clients that we keep on afterwards. And of course we do it because it is user experience. But we love to build websites. That's what we love to do. Yeah. So, okay. But yeah, so graphic design, important, but not as important as user experience and client journey, the journey of the customer.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's basically just like a constant evolving mechanism as you learn to change things, like removing your courier price and setting a price point to get your courier for free. You see how it increases traffic, and then whether you have an add-on or not, and just continually revising that until you peak.
Continually playing. I mean, like I didn't get to say it in my chat before, but a conversion rate, if anyone knows what a conversion rate is, it's the amount of people come onto your website, add to cart, and then hit checkout. And the traditional standard global conversion rate is 2%. And when people hear that, they're like astounded that it's 2%, that it's so low. But it's what we aim for. We aim for 2%. It's like, yay, we hit 2% conversion rate. And people just don't get that. Net Florist's conversion rate is 12%. And whenever I hear it, I'm so proud of them. I'm like, oh, that's what we all aspire to, is 12%. And they do it so well because they've built it all. They've built their farmyard after, their farmhouse, I love that analogy, after 10 years. And it is established. And now all they do and their money that they spend is on user journey, user experience, all the time. You know, they have a lovely database, and that's what they do. Okay, sorry, I'm just getting pinged here. Okay. So where are we next? So now you've built your product price, and think about that product price. Think about your business model, and just really have a good idea of where you want to go with that. So once you have that, you can start building your website. And this is where I get to my belief that you have to build a solid foundation. There are lots of people, like I listened last week to the OnlineX presenters. There was one guy, I can't remember what his name was. He was fascinating. So he comes from an agency as well, and they do building. And he was like, why do you get an agency to build your site versus why do you do it yourself? Or why do you use a freelancer? And it always kind of came down to cost versus experience versus et cetera, et cetera. So when I tell someone, okay, you're going to go and start building your site. Now, you can do it yourself. We do a lot of people who've been doing their site for like 6 months, and they come in and they say, we just don't have a clue anymore, Melissa, help us. And we take over those sites, and they're quick finishes, and and we do for them what quickly what they have taken months to learn, but because we live and breathe it every day. So that's why you use an agency. And also, if you really want highly customized websites, but it doesn't sound like you want that.
No, not now. I really enjoy your analogy of just starting off simply and getting the foundation right and building from there, because there's no point. I always say slow and steady wins the race.
Exactly. And what you'll also find is, I often find people overcomplicate things initially, and then they haven't catered for their ideal audience, because they haven't done their user journey yet. And it drives me insane. Am I still here? No, I am. Yeah. Sorry. It drives me insane when someone will come to me and will have built their website, and they'll say, Melissa, but I want you to change this. You didn't do this in our first build. And I'll say, but that's not what we quoted you for. And they'll say, but we need this in our website. And I'll say, yes, you do need this in your website. And they'll say, but why won't you do it for me then? And I'll say, because if I had to continue with every single build forever, I would go bankrupt, because no website build is ever finished. It isn't. Every single website constantly needs tweaking and love, and oh, that didn't work. Oh, I actually need this. It needs that constant maintenance.
So how do you guys work in terms of your setup? So you guys obviously have a setup fee for whatever the client decides on. And then do you guys have a retainer fee for monthly maintenance, or how does it work?
So what we normally do is we spec your project. So for you, you've got a very simple build at the moment. I mean, we would, please just tell me if I'm missing anything, Centane, just help me, because I hear beeps all the time. Sorry about that. So what we do is we spec your project. We'll go and we'll say, okay, you need a very simple build, which is 20 products, a menu, a cart, a checkout, payment gateways, courier integration, etc. It's your standard build. And then we go and rebuild it. And then afterwards we say to you, okay, now we need to go in and we need to see where your impediments to conversion are. And we're seeing, okay, you've got impediments here. People aren't able to traffic through this part. And we'll do some QA and we'll figure out whatever it is. And that either works on a retainer basis, or we do an analysis of your site and a job card, however it is. We do that afterwards. Or you'll come back to us and you'll say, okay, Melissa, I'm watching. People are saying to me that actually with our, for example, our silicone cheese wrap, they want to have different sizes, but they want to spec these sizes. So we need to cut them to this size or whatever. I need you to figure out how we can put them in. Or Melissa, I want them to be able to add a picture of their children's face to the bag. Whatever it is. And we'll come in and we'll say, okay, I get that. That's going to help. Let's put it in at this point. And then you're going to say, okay, but I want them to check out before they add the picture, because otherwise I know it's going to happen. They're going to look for the picture for 17 weeks and they're never going to complete the buy. So we're going to work out a flow chart to make sure we get the money, and then they can go and find that picture 17 weeks later, etc. So we work out flow to maximize conversion. So you will guide us and we'll guide you.
Okay.
However that will work. Okay, so then once you've figured out your product, you've put your pricing model together, we start your build. And we really break it down. I'm trying to think of some complex builds that we've done. So our most complex build I think that we've done, we had a client who had, so Shopify handles variants. So variants are, let's say you've got a t-shirt and it comes in small, large, excuse me, extra large, etc. Those are variants of a product. You can get up to 100 variants in each product on Shopify. So that means T-shirt, red, 5 sizes. T-shirt, blue, 5 sizes, whatever. 100 per product. We had a client who wanted something like 500 variants per product. So we had to go and customize it so that we could get that. And what that did was, it was a nut and bolts, and it would be this screw, this material, this diameter, this length, this whatever, and each time it filtered it out. So that is a highly customizable build, as you can imagine. So it just really does depend on what you really want.
Okay.
Sorry, I need some more.
Can I interrupt quickly? I think it's worth pointing out that that extremely custom website, which I'm very familiar with, is built on the same system as the website we just finished that took 3 days to build and style. They're both built on the exact same base system, but they work equally as well. So that's what's kind of the benefit of Shopify in terms of how easy it is to scale upwards, to get as complicated as need be. And we will obviously also mention when something is just not feasible.
Okay.
Okay, so now you've got your product and we start building your site. Here with building your site, what we do is you will basically, we do photo shoots. We've done some amazing photo shoots. Like we did one for a wig company, which was our favorite, a wig and weave. It was just the most beautiful photo shoot. But we do photo shoots, we'll facilitate those for you. So you would need to go and do a photo shoot. You do your standard pack shots, and then you would go and you would do lifestyle shots. And these are fundamental. And I say this because they say the statistics show that people judge a website within 1 second of opening it. And that is a trust issue. And I'm telling you, you've all done it. You open a website, you're like, this is rubbish. This is tacky. This is untrustworthy. This is drop shipping. I hate drop shipping. This is whatever. And you do not trust it. So you go and you get all your beautiful silicone jars, and you get a kitchen and you kit it out and you do a beautiful photo shoot. If you can't do that initially, then you're scaling. Then you go and you get some beautiful stock images and you make it look professional. Centane makes us graphics for the companies that can't afford it. We do beautiful graphics, and that's how you start. So you build your website to look highly professional. So that's number one, make it look professional. And then you've got to do, so you get your photos in, and then you've got to make sure you hit all the pain points. So you make sure you have the correct domain. You make sure you have an email that is legitimate. You are not using your Gmail address. You are buying a domain. You are doing an info at whatever your name is .coza. You are using, and people don't know why I'm so particular about this, but you're using a .co.za domain. And the reason for this is someone will not check out on a .com. I only shop online. During lockdown, if I see a .com, I'm like, it won't come. It's not getting through customs. It's not getting through the couriers. It's not going to come to me. There's a big South African website that is a .com. I never knew it was South African, and I shop online all the time. And I will not buy off it because it says .com. I only shop off Amazon, but do not use .com, because people see .com and they will not buy off it because they think it's going to take 2 weeks, might not come, etc. You use a .co.za website domain.
Okay.
I don't care what anyone says. Oh, it makes me look more international that I'm .com. I'm like, yeah, but no one's going to buy off it. So then you use a professional email address. Then you get your refunds policy up to date. You make sure that your terms and conditions are, and we actually send out templates to our clients with these on.
Okay.
And you just go and you just have a look through them and you say, okay, I agree, I don't agree, my refunds are slightly different, etc. Then you work out your shipping. So shipping is really important because what you've got to do with shipping is you've got to say, okay, what is my shipping model? I believe that shipping is fundamental to your ultimate success of your business.
Definitely.
But it is a very complex matter if you are using a recommended retail price. So, for example, if you can't bury that price in your product, then you've got to use something called incentivized shipping. So Take-A-Lot uses incentivized shipping. You have to spend 500 Rand. If you spend 500 Rand, you get free shipping. Every single one of us would rather pay 200 Rand extra or 50 Rand extra to get that free shipping. So that's
because
your
you're getting
incentivized.
something for your buck, and your courier means nothing.
There's a meme. Centane was actually looking for it. It's this picture of this guy, and he is buying a whatever, and it's $3, and shipping for $50, and he's like, no. And then there's a thing, and it's $55 free shipping. He's like, yes, same product. And that is our mentality. Yeah. And it's our mentality for two reasons. First of all, we think expensive equals quality. And second of all, we will not pay shipping. So try bury your shipping if you can. If you can't do an incentivized shipping model, make people pad their cart so you don't have to pay for it. Rule of thumb, I don't know all the shipping guys. I know Dawnwing, Courier It, and the Courier Guy. Gauteng, so local deliveries, about 45 Rand for under 10 kgs. Otherwise, you're looking at up to about 180. So between 45 and 180, calculate that in, aggregate it, however you want to do it. So those are your costs for shipping, for courier, and then just work out your courier policies. Then you've got refunds, etc. So you're going to put in all your policies. Then what we do is we set up your specs and prefs. And this is just basically things like taxes, etc. So in South Africa, you don't have to be a PTY, you don't have to have your company registered, you don't have to do anything like that if you're trading under R1 million initially. So you don't need to worry about any of that. You don't need to. So don't worry about that when you launch. However, you have to always sell a VATable price. So if you're selling at 20 Rand, you can't suddenly become VAT registered and suddenly add VAT on top of that. That is your price. So just calculate that as your price. And then you're going to get VAT registered, and then you're still going to be selling at that price.
Okay.
So just remember that 20 Rand, that includes VAT, even if you're not VAT registered. And then we go and we set that all up in your back end so that when you do your reports at the end of the month, you'll get all those, everything is inclusive of that, if it is or it isn't. Your currency is right, your locations are right, your domain is right. We set up your inventory, so Shopify can track inventory for you. So, and we recommend this, put in all your inventory numbers so that you can keep track of what's going on in your store. If it comes to 0, it says sold out, you can't oversell, etc.
So those would be like automated functions then?
All automated on the back end, and you're going to put in those numbers. Then once we've set all of that up, we put in all your other integrations, we do your notifications, we set that all up for you, and then we start to style. Make it all beautiful, we put in a template, we can customize your template if you want. We always use paid themes. We actually use a very expensive theme called Flex. I'm giving secrets away. Costs $450, so about 8 Rand for this theme. We normally absorb a lot of that cost, but it is an amazing theme. It allows for front-end CSS customization, and it is beautiful. You can do anything with it. But for someone who's starting and doing it on their own, if they had to see Flex, and they wouldn't know what CSS is, and they'd be like, it wouldn't matter. It's like, it would just look like any other Shopify store. So for us, we can't just make it look like any other Shopify store. We have to make it look like what our design looks like. So then we'll build your store, we'll build your custom pages, we'll do a custom cart, we'll do whatever we have to do. We'll make it look like what it looks like. And then we do your training, and then we launch you. And then you start to market. And you market, and then you're selling.
I posted a question, but I don't think you guys saw it, with regards to Shopify launching with Facebook for Facebook branded stores or something like that. How does that work?
I
From an e-commerce store.
I actually did reply to that.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. It was actually right as you were going live. So what I said is we were very interested to read about this. It's a tie-in with Shopify itself. So it allows customers the ability to shop from within Facebook, which they can actually already do, but in more of a mini website type format. So what that does is it reduces your, what I would call it, your friction, so to speak. If I'm shopping on Instagram or on Facebook, or I'm just browsing, I can actually make a purchase directly from within Facebook and Instagram, but in a more visual way, and I can shop the whole catalog instead of a select 5 products. That reduces the friction of me having to navigate away from Facebook to the website.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So what you do is you're basically increasing your conversion because people are lazy. So yeah, I hope that answers that. But we actually
definitely
a lot more about it because it's being rolled out in phases as well. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Shopify.
Sorry, is that something that you would integrate with, or is it just like another extension of the platform?
It's definitely an extension.
Okay.
The reason I'm answering is because I do all the integrations.
Yeah.
Shopify, Facebook, eBay, Amazon, and take a lot macro. But so Facebook, Instagram is a native integration with Shopify. They've had a relationship for a long time, and now basically what they're doing is expanding on that. With Facebook, they're just making it like they're giving it an upgrade, so to speak.
Okay.
But it all pulls in so that you only have to manage from one place in terms of your products. So that is the benefit here with their relationship, is that you manage your products and you populate your products in Shopify, unless you've got an ERP, and it pushes them to Facebook and to Instagram, so you don't have to do double the work.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
No problem.
And like Centane said, so Facebook Shop already exists. It's on there and it's integrated into Shopify. It's amazing. And so is Instagram Shop. That also links to Shopify. And I think Instagram Shop is the only one. Instagram Shop only links to Shopify. And they are phenomenal, you know. And now this branded store is also, it's fantastic. I think some people are scared that omni-channel is going to take over, but I think it's the way forward. I mean, I get these little guys phone me and they're like, I really need an e-commerce store. And I just feel so sorry for them, because they don't need an e-commerce store. They need a Facebook shop, you know, because they're going to bankrupt themselves, and they don't, not because they can't afford the shop, but because they can't afford the marketing afterwards, and they're just going to sit there with this weight, this albatross. So, yeah. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to ask, Chantal?
Questions?
Sorry, you can go, Centine, sorry.
Sorry about that. We need to open up the questions from the audience. So if you want to maybe give your last question, and then we're going to see if anybody has any questions, which you guys can start sending now already, please.
It would also be great for Melissa just to give a bit of a summary of the discussion.
Okay.
Last question, sorry, just on the ERP. So I'm not very familiar with how that works. Is that a separate software that you plug into Shopify to automate all the things of payment and stock and all of that?
Okay. So an ERP would normally be something like Sage or Pastel or Xero or something like that. So whatever accounting system you wanted to use, we don't recommend it for everyone. So we recommend it for people who have complex inventory management systems or complex accounting systems. So you can manage your inventory and your accounting through Shopify. That isn't an issue. But let's say you've got a business where you're already using Sage or you're already using Pastel or whatever, and you are managing your inventory from there, etc., or you've got multiple stores and you need to manage, let's say, 3 physical stores and your online store and all the inventory and the invoicing for all of that, then I say you integrate your ERP right at the beginning. And we do that through a third party, but it integrates so that you don't have to worry.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Okay, fantastic.
We have no questions on account of the fact that we covered everything so perfectly that nobody wonders about anything. And also because I've answered all of the questions that were in the Q&A section. However, I think that maybe you need to just mention that if anybody thinks of something retrospectively, they can get in touch with us and we will help them out.
So Melissa, maybe just to give a bit of a summary through the step-by-step process with Chanel's business.
Okay, so Chanel, the big thing I think with your business is your biggest hurdle now is you have to go find your product. You know, without it, I think that, you know, you can have the best idea in the world, but your implementation is crucial. Yeah. And so go find your product. Without it, you don't have a business. You really don't. Once you've got that product in your hand, then you can start. Without it, you know, I'm worried for you. When you have it, then you go, and then you know the process. You know the process is your costing is essential. Once you've got your costing, you start with your foundation, build a very strong foundation. That is my real opinion. Do not buy cheap, buy twice. Build this nice, strong foundation. Then you're going to do your testing. You'll bring your clients in. You'll bring lots of customers in through lots of marketing. Once they are on the platform, then you are going to do your QA testing. You're going to see how they journey through your site. You are going to then build your little farm, and you're going to say, "Oh, I'm building another little pandoki on here because I realize that is how my customer is journeying through my site. I'm building. And you're building your site based on your customer's journey. You're remarketing and you're bringing them back. You're offering amazing service. Service is so crucial in online. People think it's not, but it's all about, I mean, I love it. I bought an iPad for my son for his birthday on Friday, tomorrow. And the guy sent me an email and said, "Did you get it? Did you like it?" I was like, "I love you, you know, you're great. That's so fantastic." That email, you know, customer service is so crucial in online. People forget about it. Reviews. Can I tell you, a review will sell better than anything in the world. Go on to Takealot. What sells you, the product description or the product review? The product review will sell you before the product description. So, you know, that's your user journey. Go and do all of that. And then you've got your business and it's growing. And just remember, it's not a static thing. It's constantly growing and developing. And that's basically me. Now I can go have a nap.
Thank you very much.
Before you go have your nap, Melissa, we've got a question. We've got one question, which is, what comes first, theme or apps?
Theme.
Why, Melissa?
Oh, okay, we're going to fight, aren't we, Santan? Because app often conflicts with theme. So I believe, this is difficult. We all have different opinions in our office. So if Roseanne was here as well, Roseanne's our developer. I love Flex. It's my theme. Roseanne believes in customization first. I believe that the holistic, I'm big picture afterwards. Centane is graphics. She likes it to look beautiful. Roseanne wants to make sure it functions beautifully. So between the three of us, we have to come to some consensus. So Roseanne will often use ugly theme, and then I'm like, I hate that theme. It's ugly. I'm not sending out a website that is ugly. Forget about it. But she's like, but it works. And Centane will be like, but it has to be pretty. And so they conflict. I'm going to say theme first.
Well,
because I want your app to play nicely.
But Melissa, I mean, it's also kind of a case of theme first if your website is not complicated. If your business structure is a complicated thing that we know about beforehand, then it's actually the opposite way around. We see what apps we need first, and then we make it look pretty after the fact. So, but as a standard, it's theme first.
And ironically, Centane, that means it's theme first too, because then we don't actually put on a theme.
That's true. Because technically, if the apps take precedence, then the decision is that you technically use a non-theme. It's like a no-name brand theme, because we can't be having a branded theme coming in and trying to take the spotlight when the apps need to do their job.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers that question. Other than that, we don't have any other questions. So, yeah.
And then Chanel, please feel free to contact me at any time when you're ready, and we can take this offline, and I can be of assistance to you. I'm very happy to help.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Melissa, Centane, Chanel, for a wonderful session this afternoon. To all our attendees, that concludes today's session. I'm sure we've all learned how to apply the first steps of getting online. Thank you so much for attending. But before you leave, just a final reminder that all the sessions are being recorded, and you'll receive emails with links and passwords to them shortly. Our next OnlineX gathering is scheduled for the 3rd of June. We will be covering the topic of big data for small business. This will be presented, as you can see on the slide, by Ryan Bacher, MD of NetFlorist, who will be moderating, and his data specialist, Reese Downard, who's the lead analyst at Media Rocket. This webinar has been put together to demystify how businesses can access and understand their online data, to improve processes, deliver better customer experience, and boost revenue. It's really about finding the hidden gold that is potentially sitting behind your site. Bookings will open for this soon. There'll be many more sessions coming up after that, including how to practically build your web presence, which we touched on today, learning how to best leverage Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, and other social media platforms, as well as many other webinars. So please keep a lookout for further correspondence from the OnlineX team about new OnlineX gatherings happening in the coming weeks. Thanks again for your attendance. Good luck, and we hope this was very valuable to you, and goodbye.